Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a first impression review on this little product here, which is the Foundation Drops by Gosh. So when I first saw this foundation, I immediately thought of the custom cover drops by Cover FX, I think. The ones that have been going all around YouTube. So many YouTubers have been raving about them. You can kind of customise your own foundations to give you like buildable coverage, and this is what it reminded me of, simply because it's like a foundation dropper and because of the bottle as well. But then I was speaking to somebody else about it and they told me that it was really similar to the Maybelline Dream Flawless Nude Foundation. I have also done a first impression review on this product as well, and I will link that in the description bar in case any of you guys want to check it out. But this Maybelline Dream Flawless Nude is one of my absolutely favourite foundations, so I'm hoping that the Gosh one is really good as well. So the shade that I have got in the foundation drops is 006 Tawny, because I was given it by a friend to try out, and so that's why it probably might be a little bit dark for me. However, when I swatched these two against themselves on my hand, I've got the Dream Flawless Nude in shade 22, which is slightly too dark for me. I could really do with a number 21 or a 20, and this one is actually slightly yellower and slightly lighter, which is much better for my skin tone. So if I read out what it says on the packaging, it says buildable coverage, natural finish and a lightweight feeling. And it also says on the front as well that it's hydrating and soothing. Apparently, I've also been told that this one is a lot more moisturising and hydrating than the Maybelline one. So if you found that one slightly too dry, this one might be really good for you. So again, like the Maybelline one, it says shake well. So I'm going to give it a bit of a shake first. So because this is a foundation dropper, it has got that little pipette on top, unlike the Maybelline one, which is kind of like a teardrop end. So if I hold this up really quickly and hope it doesn't drip everywhere, as you can see, it's got kind of a little dip down end on the bottom and then a hole in the middle to dispense the product. I'm not sure how to apply this to my face, whether to put it on the back of my hand first, or to put it straight on the brush, or to put it straight on my face. I think I'm going to try first and see how it goes. Just on one cheek, just popping it onto my brush. I'm using the Real Techniques buffing brush. This is my favourite one for applying the Maybelline one, just because of the kind of like oily texture. I feel like this is going to really buff it into my skin. I've tried it with other brushes before and it just doesn't give that same kind of like airbrush look to it. So I'm just going to drop 2 drops onto the brush. It's only covered that much. And see how we get on. Oh, actually, first, I nearly forgot. I'm going to prime half of my face. I'm going to use the Max Factor Face Affinity All Day Primer. And I'm just going to put this on the right side of my face, just to see if wearing a primer with this foundation gives a different look. Okay, so that is the right side of my face covered with the primer, and I'm going to go straight in now with these drops on the other side of my face. And so far, those 2 tiny little drops are kind of covering just this area of my face here. The colour match isn't too bad actually. I probably could go with 1 shade lighter, maybe 2. But it is definitely lighter than the Maybelline one on me, so I'll just drag it down my neck slightly as well. Pop some more drops on my brush. I think this time I'll go with 3 drops instead. It has got a really, really nice silky feel to it. You can't really feel it once it's gone onto your skin. It kind of just feels like you're brushing a really soft brush into your face. It does feel quite hydrating, like it's not drying at all. It is going on really smooth and really nice. Okay, so here is 1 layer of the foundation. It definitely is lightweight. It is quite a sheer foundation. I wouldn't say it's super, super sheer, but it is on the lighter side. But it does say that it is buildable, so I will try a second coat in a minute just to see how well it builds up and if you can get a little bit more coverage out of it. It does give a really, really natural finish as well. On me, it is quite dewy and glowy. It does say it is hydrating and soothing, which it definitely is. If you had oily skin, I would probably suggest maybe trying a mattifying primer or powder on top, or maybe steering away from this kind of foundation altogether. But the finish it gives is really, really nice. It is a lot more hydrating than the other one. It's got a kind of I don't want to say oilier or greasier texture, but it does kind of move around a little bit more. The Maybelline one, once you put it on, I feel it kind of sets in place. It doesn't set like matte or anything like that on me, but it does after you've kind of worked it in. It doesn't really move. I feel that if I was to kind of go in and like wipe my face now, it would kind of wipe off a little bit. So far, there's not a huge difference between the prime side and the unprimed side. It has seemed to go on slightly more evenly on the prime side. I don't know if you can see on camera. The coverage on my cheek here is just a lot more even, whereas on here you can still kind of see some of the redness coming through around my nose. Okay, so I'm going to go in with a second layer now. Usually I wouldn't go in with a second layer across my whole face, but because this is quite lightweight and quite natural looking, I think I will go across my whole face just to see the effect that it gives. I'm going to apply 2 drops to my brush again and start the second layer across my cheek. And here is the 2 layers. It looks so natural. It's such a lovely foundation. There is not too much difference between the prime side and the unprimed side. The prime side, just across areas where I have a bit of uneven skin tone, has covered just slightly more evenly than the unprimed side. But it's not like a drastic difference whereby I'd say you need a primer with this product. It's just if you have some uneven skin tone or blemishes or that kind of thing you want to cover up, you might want to think about adding a primer underneath. Other than that, it feels really nice. It has got a slightly tacky texture, not too tacky, but it is really silky smooth as well, and it feels really lightweight on the skin. You don't really feel like you're wearing anything on your face. The overall look of this foundation I think is absolutely gorgeous. It gives like a really, really glowy, dewy look without looking too over the top and still really natural at the same time. I did end up having to take the foundation onto my neck just because after applying the second coat it was slightly too pink for me, so I could go 1-2 shades lighter. It's not terrible, but if I was to buy this foundation again and kind of find my actual match, I would maybe go for a number 4 or a number 5. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to tell you how it applied on top of this foundation. Okay, so I've applied the rest of my makeup, and overall it went on top of the foundation pretty well. The bronzer and contour, especially in natural light, looks really, really good. It's blended into the foundation really well and it looks really natural. The only thing I was sort of a little bit iffy about was the powder that I set my foundation with. After I set my foundation with the powder, it did start to cake up in some areas, like around my mouth here, which I've never had with the foundation before. It started to cake up around there and slightly around my nose and on the inner corners of my eye as well. Another thing that I noticed was the concealer underneath my eyes took a lot longer to set than with normal foundations. I had to set that under eye concealer with a lot more powder than I usually do. But it is 10:30 in the morning now, and so I'll be back in a couple of hours with an update. Hey guys, so it is now 2:30 in the afternoon and I have come back to give you guys an update. So actually over the past 4 hours, this foundation has settled into my skin really, really well. The areas where it was cakey, it's kind of settled into my skin and kind of even itself out a little bit. There's not really any areas on my face that have worn or kind of worn off throughout those 4 hours. My bronzer has maybe dulled down slightly, but it's kind of made it a bit more natural and that kind of thing as well. I definitely think the colour matches my body a lot better now than it did. Maybe I just kind of couldn't see it properly at first, or maybe it's kind of settled into my skin a bit more and it's gone a bit more even. But the finish is still really, really nice of this foundation. It has gone a lot more matte than it was at first, but I did set my entire face with powder because I'm going straight off to work now, so I wanted to ensure that my makeup lasts all day. Because the foundation has gone a little bit more matte and dry throughout the day, I guess it would be okay for oilier skin tones. At first, I thought it was going to be way too oily and it would be really good just for dry skin tones, but actually wearing it throughout the day now, I don't see why oilier skin tones couldn't wear this foundation. So overall, this foundation gets a really big thumbs up from me. I really like it. It is very similar to the Maybelline. I'm not sure which one I prefer more. They're both very similar, and so I'd like to kind of wear it a little bit more just to get used to it a bit more. So as I said in my last video, I have got loads of videos planned for me to film, and I've also got loads of videos ready to go up for you guys to enjoy over the next couple of weeks. So if you aren't already, please subscribe to my channel and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!